Welcome to the Be Good Men podcast. This is where we search for what makes a good man and discover the steps to become one. Let's journey together in our quest to become better men, husbands, and fathers. Here's your host, Darren.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Be Good Men podcast. My name is Darren, and I have actually been trying to get this podcast up and running and started for quite a while now. And I'm actually sitting in my car waiting to pick my kids up from one of their many activities. And so I figured since I had this time, I would go ahead and record a little bit. So please forgive me if it's not the best sound. In the future, I do have some microphones and things at home, so hopefully we can have it sounding a little bit better than it will sound in my car. But I was excited and just wanted to go ahead and get something started and something put up for people to listen to and kind of give a explanation of what it is I'm doing and what it is I'm trying to get started. What I hope in the future as well is that my son Braden will co-host the podcast with me. It's just nailing down a time. He's just started community college, so it's trying to get our schedules together is kind of a hectic thing. But let me explain a little bit more about what Be Good Men is and what sort of the vision or idea of it is. So basically, it's just an idea of trying to find out what it is that makes a good man, and then of course the steps to become a good man. How do we do it? Where do we go? And what do we do in order to make ourselves better and in order to reach those goals? What the blog and the podcast are not is I'm not a men's rights activist or, anything of the sort. I don't believe that you have to tear down one group to build up another group. You don't have to tear down women to build up men or vice versa. To me, all of that, is just garbage. If you're tearing down one group to build up another, you're really not building anybody up. You're just tearing someone down, and tearing a group down and pointing and saying, look how bad they are, doesn't do anything to make the group better. Either one, actually. So that's sort of the idea is, how do we make ourselves better, without all the noise and everything of, this group's bad, or this group said this, or these people aren't good, or these people are bad, or blah, blah, blah. It's just a matter of how do we make ourselves better, or what is a good man, and how do we get there? Myself and hopefully anybody that wants to come on the journey with me. So how did I get to this point where I even thought this was a good idea? And it's kind of an interesting story, because what happened was, one day I was watching the news, and I think they were showing some riots or something else horrible that was going on, and something occurred to me. I heard a voice in my head, whether that's the voice of the spirit, or whatever you believe in, or whether it's early onset dementia, who knows? But it was basically this thought, or this voice entered my mind and said, do you realize why this is happening? And of course I didn't. I was like, well, no, why is this happening? And then I was told that there was a vacuum because there was a lack of good men in the world. And because of this vacuum, that's where a lot of our troubles and problems are coming from, is because people don't have an example to look to, especially young men don't have an example to look to know what to do and how to do it and how to be better, or what the parameters are of manhood. I should do this, I shouldn't do that. So they're just basically going with the flow, or riding the wave of whatever society says and does, and they're not having that proper instruction. And a lot of us, myself included, didn't get that instruction, so we're kind of at a loss. So I hear that, and I think to myself, you know what, that's right. That is something that's lacking in this world, but I have no idea how to fix that, or where we go from there, or what it even takes to get to that point where I can say, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, so I'm a good man, and you should do it too. So that starts me on a journey of discovery. And the sad part is there's really not a lot of information out there for any of us. It's not a lot of information about this is what makes a good man, or here's some things to avoid, or things like that. So it's sort of picking and choosing good information, and then of course tossing out any of the bad or ridiculous things about men or manhood. Another thing that happened while I was looking into this was I had two female coworkers who I was talking with, and I made the comment about how I didn't understand why women seem to get so upset with men because we're just dumb guys and blah, blah, blah. And one of them said, well, if we're being real about it, what most women won't admit is that women put men up on a pedestal and they look up to them. And that's why they are so disappointed when they don't achieve the things that these women see that we're capable of. And again, that's another thing that was eye-opening to me is, regardless of all the complaining about, well, men are portrayed like this and men are portrayed like that, part of the reason is because women are so, like, I guess women and our families and children are frustrated with the fact that they see what we can be and they see what we can become, and they have an idea of our greatness, and we're just basically pissing it all away. And so if you look at it as they're angry or upset or disappointed because here's this person that they look up to that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and number one, they're having to pick up the slack, but number two, anytime a hero or someone you look up to lets you down, it's crushing, or it can be. One more thing that was eye-opening to me as well is that when I, ever since I've been married, and I've worked with people, and I've said a lot of things like, oh, well, that's just what dads do, or that's just what husbands do, or that's what men do. And all the time I've gotten the answer of, no, a lot of men don't do that. No, a lot of dads don't do that. No, a lot of husbands don't do that. And so for me, everything that I was thinking was just a given that dads are supposed to do, dads are not doing, or husbands are not doing, or things like that. And so to me, that was quite eye-opening, making me realize that maybe we all have a lot to learn and a lot of growth that needs to be done for us to understand our place in the world. And I think too that one of the thing that has really struck me is that no matter what we see on social media, or what we think is being said, or what we think this group or that group believes or thinks or says or does, we as men are needed in this world. We are needed as good men, and there is this desire for that to happen. And every time that we fail, you can just see this disappointment and everything sort of stir up like a tornado, everything else that's going on. So it's a cause and effect, basically. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, I'm trying as hard as I can, and that's great, because most of us are doing everything we think we can do. But that's part of our human condition. Part of being a man is we can be better. And so that's sort of the starting point for all of this. And I have written some things on my blog, which is begoodmen.net. Unfortunately, I haven't written as often as I would like, because having 3 teenagers in the house is a little bit crazier than I would have ever anticipated. But anyway, I've shared some of my thoughts and ideas on some things. And some of the things I've been trying to learn are, what makes a good man? That's a good question, because there's sort of this information gap between the standards that men held our grandfathers, and then as that information slowly went down to a lot of us, we weren't taught that. We weren't taught a lot of the things. We picked things up here and there, but we didn't learn a lot of the things. And unfortunately, once we didn't learn, we obviously didn't pass that information on to our sons as well. So we sort of have an information gap, and there's all these changing things in society. But regardless of what happens, there still is a need and a place for us to be good men, and for us to be good fathers, and for us to be good husbands, and for us to be kind and thoughtful and helpful, and for us to be of service. So as the podcast goes on, and in the next few episodes, I have some thoughts and some ideas, and a lot of I went ahead and researched some information, took some information from some other sources, and sort of put my own information in with it. And I'll be sharing that as far as, here's some ideas of what I think we should be looking at, the different attributes that we could be working on. And I'll share where a lot of that information came from. But what I really hope is that you'll find this interesting, and that you will desire to come on the journey with me, and that we can all learn together. I don't have all the answers. I wish I did. I wish I could come on here and say, here's exactly what you need to do, but I don't know. I'm learning myself. But I hope that you'll be willing to come on this journey with me, and that you will be willing to share with me your ideas, and that we can learn together, and that we can grow together, because that's really the only way that we're going to ever get to where we need to go, and also to help society, and to help our families get to where they need to be. And it's going to be hard, but I really, really think in the end it's going to be worth it. And I don't think I would have had that insight, and then that caused me to have the desire to learn, okay, what is it that makes a good man? What do I need to be doing? And then realizing, you know what? A lot of other people don't know either. So what can we do to help each other? So hopefully you'll go ahead and come on this journey with me, and that we can learn and grow together. If you are interested, I have a lot of blog posts on begoodmen.net, which a lot of my thoughts and a lot of the information I've shared, and some of that I'll be breaking down in some future podcasts. But hopefully you can go ahead and read there, get an idea of what what I'm doing and what the journey is. And then also, of course, we have a Facebook group, Twitter, and all that stuff. So hopefully this gives you a good introduction, and we can go from there in the future. But I am excited, and hopefully you will join us, and we will be able to do this together. Thank you.